against that transportation piece, we have, like I said, a dozen teachers that we share. And there are some inefficiencies that occur when you share staff. Number one, it takes travel time. So if a person's going to leave, let's say the high school, to come up to the middle school, you have to pretty much figure a good 15 minutes from when they get out of one class to get out to their car, get in, and get to the middle school. And not only do we have that, but we have to interface the schedules in order to get it done. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And we do limit ourselves in really efficiently using all of our staff. The smaller your school and the smaller number of kids you have in a building, the harder some of the staff sharing is between multiple buildings can be. So for instance, if we had 2 grades up at the middle school, or 3 grades up at the middle school, you look at a program like physical education, and you would say, well, do we need a full-time teacher for PE for just 2 or 3 grades? And we would have to answer that question, no. So if we had just a couple of grades up there, it could help solve some of the space problems, those staff members would have to be shared because we can't justify a full-time person in that position. We have to share them with other things, or we have to make them part-time, which again is a very difficult situation to sometimes recruit good teachers if you have a number of part-time positions. And so staff sharing is something that when you're looking at a whole plan for how you're going to build and how that's going to look together, you have to take that into consideration. I'll also say that we looked at probably, I think it was either 6 or 7 different grade configurations. Because there's a lot of different ways we could have built this. We could have put 5th and 6th down right next to the high school, or we could have put just 6th through 8th at the middle school, or there's a whole bunch of ways. And in every single one of those situations, the minimum number of different staff that we would have had to add to make some of this work was 2, and most of the cases it was between 3 and 4 different staff that we would have to add in order to make some of that work. So that's cost that we take away from our kids year after year after year because the building doesn't fit the capital. And finally, when we look at building and the plan that we have, I think you all know, is to build a middle school, a 5th grade middle school here, connected to the high school, was looking at updating the middle school. We did look at a number of solutions that were to update that middle school or to make it really usable long-term. We're not talking 2 years or 5 years. We're talking what's a long-term solution to what we have here. One of the options that was explored was the idea of building up, okay, because it is a landlocked site. I think you just have to drive by and you understand it's fairly landlocked. And so building up. And so our architects talked with their structural engineers and looking at the plan, they realized that none of the walls and that building was not made to build up. So in order to do that, you have to deconstruct. You have to take whatever area you're going to put a second floor on, you'd have to take a roof and a ceiling off. You'd have to take walls and reinforce them or take some walls completely out. And if you were to build on just one half, what are you doing with those students for the year or 18 months it takes while, let's say, the whole 5th and 6th grade were to get reconstructed and moved up there? And not only that, but you update the middle school, it really doesn't help solve some of those staff sharing, transportation costs, student safety. We didn't really even mention that whole lot. The idea that the drop-off pickup area up there on Broadway Street, it is not a great location to have all buses, and most of our middle school kids bus in addition to 50 or so kids each day that are dropped off. That's not a great place. It's not a very protected place. And also our recess space. Again, we have our kids have to cross the street every day. They're old enough. They usually look both ways. There's usually a teacher there who is, again, supervising. In fact, there always is. But at the same time, they are middle schoolers. And they'll see a ball that goes out on the street, and sometimes they chase before they think. And that's just the nature of middle school kids. And so the safety aspect of it, we're not getting back either that we can get back here at the middle school. So I say